Even though I don't have space, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter right now, 20-14 on the season. Got to get those shoulders moving. Got to always have a little protection right there. What is going on, Laker fans? Thank you very much for tuning in. Appreciate you guys being a part of the post-game show. Another W for the Lakers. 119-102 final score over the Atlanta Hawks. We got a lot to get into tonight. Lakers go 2-0 on the back-to-backs. If you're at home, you could just kind of start working on your jabs, your uppers, kind of defensively, do what you do. Thank you for being a part of the show. All right, we got a lot to get into. Like I mentioned, another W for the Lakers, playing some great basketball right now. Get some revenge against the Atlanta Hawks. I got a number of different topics that we'll get into. We'll get a chance to hear from players. We'll get a chance to hear from JJ Redick. We'll take your comments throughout the postgame show. And we'll also take a look at the NBA, a couple storylines that I got going on there as well. So thank you for being here. Please subscribe to the channel. It's all I ask for you to do, and we'll continue to post up a lot of NBA and Lakers content on this channel. Okay, let's get things started here. Let me just give everybody kind of some of the top storylines coming into this game. Lakers get a little payback. I say that because that last game, if you were listening this morning, that last game that Lakers had against Atlanta, I really actually think was the turning point for the Los Angeles Lakers. They became a different team since that last loss that the Lakers had in Atlanta. What I'm talking about from there, they should have won that game. Lakers lost that game in overtime. I think it was 134-132. Some just careless mistakes that the Lakers made when they were in Atlanta. But this is also a completely different team since that game. I want to say their record now is 8-3 since that loss to the Atlanta Hawks. They were giving up points. You guys remember, Lakers were going through a stretch where they're giving up 132, 134, 141, 127s, 129s. They had no identity. At least their identity wasn't on the defensive side. Since that loss in Atlanta, they've been a completely different team on the defensive side. And I thought tonight is a great example of that. Only give up 102 points against the Atlanta Hawks. Some other things, just some top storylines, and then I'll start getting into them individually. LeBron passes Michael Jordan for most 30-point games in NBA history. So he passes him. Something to keep in mind there. And that's something I will bring up here and there as we go through the post-game show. The balance that the Lakers have right now, there are so many different guys. I think this is the one thing I do like about this team right now. One of the things that I like is you don't necessarily have to depend on one or two role players every single night. One night might be Austin Reaves. Another night, it could be Max Christie. Another night could be Dalton Connect. Maybe Dorian Finney-Smith. Maybe Rui Hachimura. I think tonight was a really good example of the balance that the Lakers have and all the different people that the Lakers can have come through. All right, let's get into the actual game. So 119-102, the final score for the Lakers. Second of a back-to-back. They obviously beat the Portland Trailblazers yesterday. So I thought tonight was going to be a challenge. I will say this. It felt like the Lakers just always had control of this game. There were times that it got down to, what did it get down to? Maybe 3 or 4 or 5 points. There were a couple key possessions that I think went the Lakers' way. But it felt like the Lakers always had a cushion on the Atlanta Hawks. And that, to me, I thought was so important. They didn't have to play from behind or anything like that. So they really did set a tempo, I thought, for the game. It was closer in the first half than it was in the second half. By the time you got in the second half, you're basically up 7-8 points, somewhere around there throughout the game. You never let Atlanta get in too much of a rhythm. For how quick Atlanta moves the ball, whether the Lakers hit a bucket or they didn't, Atlanta's got the ball past half court. It seemed like 2 or 3 seconds into the shot clock, and they were either firing away or they were attacking. You would have thought Atlanta was going to drop 120 tonight. They didn't. It was the Lakers that dropped 119, and it was Atlanta that only got 102. So I thought, as I kind of look at what is most important in a game like this is, if a team like Atlanta, I was looking at some of the team stats as well coming into the game, just to give you guys an idea about this. Atlanta's top 5 in the league in points per game. Okay. They're top 3 in assists per game. Their top two in, what was the other category that I know I saw here? Let me see if I have it here. A couple of the other ones isn't exactly from an offensive perspective. Their steals per game because of Dyson Daniels, they're number two. So they got some other categories that they're involved in as well. I think it was 3-pointers made. They were top 10. The point that I'm trying to make is they're an offensive team. That's what they do. They find ways to move the ball. They find ways to get a number of different guys involved. Of course, Trae Young, typically he's the head of that snake. And I thought Lakers just made things uncomfortable enough for the Atlanta Hawks where they put themselves in a good position. If you got a squad, listen to these stats here for a quick second, okay? Atlanta shot 41% from the field and 17.5% from the three-point line. Atlanta is one of the premier offensive teams in the NBA, and I'm going to say it again. They shot 41% from the field and just 17.5% from the three-point line. Compare that to the Lakers. Lakers were plus 21 against Atlanta from the three-point line. That's surprising right there. Lakers almost shot. I think they were around 43% from the three-point line. So right out the gate, those stats are important. Rebounding, Lakers dominated 56-39. You certainly want to dominate in that category. 17-point lead was the largest lead that the Lakers had. That's what the score ended up. Largest lead for Atlanta was 5. So you really did have, and by the way, that 5-point lead was early on. I think Lakers went on a run where Atlanta called timeout. Lakers were up 3. That's the biggest lead that they had and was early on in the first quarter. One area I will say from a team stat perspective, can't have 19 turnovers. If you got 19 turnovers, you're going to get yourself in some trouble. So certainly can't have that happen. And I'm sure that's something that, obviously the squad will be working on and everything else. Bron, 30 points, 13 of 20 from the field, 3 rebounds, 8 assists. Guys, last night, if you guys remember, LeBron, if it wasn't for Max Christie, LeBron would have got a lot more attention last night. When Lakers beat the Blazers, what did Bron? I'm just going to right out the top of my head. I don't remember. LeBron was 38-8 last night. Second of a back-to-back. He was 15 of 25 from the field yesterday. He was 7 of 10 from the three-point line. He followed that up tonight with another 30. So that kind of says it all right now about LeBron still doing what he's doing. I thought, and I'm being very genuine about this too. Part of me thought, the reason why LeBron played last night and Anthony Davis didn't, my thought process was, all right, maybe they're just trying to be strategic with the second of a back-to-back, and maybe what the Lakers are going to do, Bron will sit the second of a back-to-back, AD will play, and they'll see what they can do against Atlanta. Nope, LeBron played. So that means in his last 2 games, he's got 68 points at age 40. And by the way, shooting at a high clip, shooting over 50%, looking comfortable. That 3 is falling. I don't know what the hell he's doing, but whatever the hell he's doing, it's clearly working for him. And LeBron has been, at least from an offensive standpoint, has led the Lakers the last 2 games. What's interesting in a game like this too, and I'm just going to kind of get into everything right now, and then I'll start looking at some of the comments, and we'll get a chance to kind of dive a little bit deeper into things. But in a game like this, part of the thing that stands out to me the most is when you beat Atlanta like the Lakers did, and Bron is the guy that dropped the 30, it's like, okay, well, what did everybody else do? Naturally, you're going to say, well, what did Anthony Davis do? Anthony Davis didn't have that great of a game offensively, 18.6 of 17 from the field. But the reason why the Lakers are still able to win by 17 against a team that's been playing better basketball in Atlanta, he had 19 rebounds. He had 3 steals. He had 3 block shots. The reason why Atlanta's dropped 102 points, a lot of that has to do with, well, what's Anthony Davis doing on the other side? And, obviously that's obvious what he's doing. But it wasn't just him. I think that's the part for me that does get me excited about the Lakers, because Reaves can give you 20. Rui Hachimura gave you 13 tonight. Max Christie was 1 point away from getting into double figures. Dalton Knecht came in off the bench and finally had a good game, 3 of 4 from the three-point line. He gave you 13 points. Dorian Finney-Smith had a nice stretch there for hit one corner 3, hit another corner 3, and then had a beautiful bucket around the basket. He had 8 points. You don't have to just depend on 1 or 2 guys. And I think that's going to be, obviously the most important thing for the Lakers. If their idea and their concept is going to be as far as winning goes, you got to have the depth. All right, well, some of that depth is certainly showing itself right now. All right, let's take a quick listen. JJ Redick is at the mic. Let's hear what he's got to say about the Lakers' win over the Hawks.
They played offensively with the right intent. Another night where we got close to 30 assists. Defensively, Trae Young, he bends you in ways. We played coverage tonight, and he's still 33 and 9. I mean, he's a fantastic offensive player. But I thought our defense overall in the second half was much better. Doe, Max, those guys. Again, you go against elite offensive players, and you're not gonna stop them. They're gonna figure out ways to score and assist their teammates.
Bigger picture, if you don't like the game plan discipline, or you encourage them, that it's not an easy win, but a relatively comfortable one in terms of the scoreline.
Yeah, I'm encouraged by our team in general. I think the message that I relayed to them at halftime is the reason why that stuff matters. The reason why executing a personnel-based scouting report that we've talked about is because I don't want to coach a good team. I don't want to be a part of a good team. I want to be a part of a great team, and I believe this team can be a great team. And so it is about the small details. And, we don't – we said this the other night at halftime against Sacramento, felt the same way against this team. And this is not a knock on either of these teams. It's just the nature of how they play and how they score. At times they're just running up and down the court. It feels like a pickup game. We're going to lose the pickup game. We're going to lose the pickup game. We have to get back on defense. We have to execute on offense. We have to pass. We have to screen. And when we've done that, we've been a really good basketball team.
JJ, what were some of the things that got you most frustrated in the first half, in terms of like the things you wanted to see when it came to execution that you guys did?
Started on makes. They had 11 fast break points in the first half, and some of those were off our turnovers. But I scored 9 right after makes, so essentially 20 transition points and a half, which is insane. The thing that really got me was the Bogdanovich running into screens and ghosting out, which we said he the last 5 games he's done that a number of times every game. He hasn't set a screen yet. So why are we switching that and then creating confusion? And then when they get open threes, he gets behind the defense, they score. He's not going to set the screen. He's going to run. You stay with your own. They call a square. Like it's that part of it. Couldn't have emphasized that anymore.
Okay. All right, we'll stop it there. I think that's good. Let's keep the post-game show rolling here. Whatever your thoughts are so far on JJ Redick, whatever it is, like him, hate him, not sure yet, whatever it is, it genuinely doesn't even matter because we're only 34 games in. Lakers at 20-14 now. I'll get in the standings in a little bit. I know a lot of people are pointing that out, so we'll take a look at that. Take a look at that a little bit later in the show. Whatever your thoughts are on him, does he not seem very, very comfortable in the role as the Lakers head coach? Is that safe to say? Is it safe to say that, again, whether you like him, you don't, if there's some areas, the one thing that I notice right now, I feel like that's not happening after games, is there aren't a lot of people talking about JJ Redick. And to be honest with you, if you're a head coach, I don't know how much you want people to be talking about you. If you're a referee, you definitely don't want people talking about you. The biggest compliment is when people are not talking about you. And I feel like in this post-game show, or doing this post-game show, obviously after every game, I don't feel like there's a lot of noise geared towards him. I don't feel like there's a lot of attention going to JJ Redick and saying, what is this guy doing? Hey, I told you so. What are the Lakers doing? Why the hell would you sign this guy? It seems like 34 games in, got a long way to go. There's plenty of time to bitch and complain. Trust me, that will probably comes with the nature of being a coach in any profession, or the head person in any profession. But it seems like he's got his I's dotted and his T's crossed. Is that safe to say? is it safe to say that, I've said this before, that for me, the biggest compliment that I could give to JJ Redick so far is I don't feel like he's stubborn. I feel like he tries things. Did this work? Did it not work? Okay, let's move on. Maybe he's got a badass coaching staff as well that's there with him. Maybe that has a lot to do with it. Obviously, the assistants that he has have great experience in the NBA. But however you want to look at it, the way he's just sitting there, we just played his interview, right? So he's sitting back and he's pointing out things that he's pointing out, I think, the right things. Defensively is how the Lakers won the game. And then he's complaining about a certain play. He's talking about the style. If you're trying to play up and down, run and gun with the Atlanta Hawks, we can't play that way. We can't. That's not how we're going to beat them. If we play their style, we're going to end up losing. Anyways, for me, for my money's worth, I think JJ has been better than I thought he was going to be through 34 games. I didn't know what the hell to expect. Why would I know what to expect? The guy's never coached before. He never coached at any level. But it feels like the team is organized to an extent. Don't get me wrong. There are times, I'm watching last night's game against Portland, and this happens in the NBA all the time. Like, are these guys going to run a play, or are they just going to stand around? So it's not always organized. 19 turnovers is way too many turnovers. We saw that tonight as well. But I feel comfortable with him in that seat. And we'll see as the season progresses. I feel like the team, obviously the squad is playing for him and everything else. So we'll see where things go. So just I want to point that out real quick on the JJ Redick front. Okay. I did star some of your guys' comments here. So let's take a quick look here. Kostas, all the way out in Greece. Thank you, my brother. Saturday morning out there. Still on the West Coast. We're Friday evening. Thank you for the super. What a beautiful Saturday morning. All right. Appreciate you being a part of the show. Brandon, thank you for the super, my brother. Brandon says, LeBron looks like he's drinking a message to Rob that he's worth going all in for. Need to see Bron do this against Western Conference rivals. I will say this. I saw a couple comments here. Brandon, thank you for the super. I'm going to come back to you in just a second. But here's one that I starred. One trade away from being contenders. A lot of people going out of their way say, hey, Lakers are in fourth now. A lot of people saying, hey, it's looking more like the team that the Lakers had when they won in 2020, minus another big, that you need another big man. Listen, that 2020 team was absolutely stacked. LeBron was 5 years younger. Anthony Davis was 5 years younger. I mean, that was a badass team in 2020. But I'm going to go back to what Brandon said right here. That message to Rob about going all in. I think Rob already got the message. I think Rob already knows. And I think Rob's going to make another move. I've said this before when I've done the morning show that one of the things I really liked about them going out to get Dorian Finney-Smith is he's a playoff type of player that you want. And maybe Shake Milton's going to be, an impactful player as well. But they also did it, giving them enough time to go out and make another move. A lot of my content I put out this week, I had Eric Pincus on. It was like, all right, how do they get another big? Eric Pincus is phenomenal for Bleacher Report. Talks a little bit more about the cap and the apron, the first apron, second apron, all that other stuff. He's an expert in that field. I think they're going to make another move. So I don't think it's a matter of if. I think it's a matter of when. And even guys like Shams Charania went out there and said that, look, here are the assets that they kept after making that trade. And we know the assets, they still got their first rounders. They still have tradable assets. To be honest with you, there's probably, let me look into this here real quick. I know tonight was a blowout, but here's all the guys that got real rotational minutes tonight. Okay. Anthony Davis, Rui Hachimura, LeBron James, Austin Reaves, Max Christie. Dorian Finney-Smith played 23 minutes. Dalton Knecht played 15 minutes. Shake Milton played 13. Cam Reddish played 13. Jackson Hayes played 11. There's 10 guys right there that you have on your roster that played 10 or more minutes tonight. Not end of the game minutes like Bronny got, with 2 minutes left in the game or something along those lines. Okay, that's 10 players right there. Gabe Vincent's getting paid, not a lot, but he's enough to be, obviously be a part of the rotation. Christian Wood, I'm sure is going to be a part of the rotation, and Jared Vanderbilt's definitely going to be part of the rotation. There's no team out there playing 13 guys. That's not going to happen. So I think the question, where is there some redundancy? Where can you say, well, I'll give up a player or two like this because it makes more sense. We need another big. I don't know the answer to that. But what I'm telling you is there are enough players on this team that if you lose one or two because you got a big, I don't think it's going to really hurt you. I think you got enough players that can fill in the gap for themselves to, obviously keep the train moving. All right, let me get to a couple more comments here. Let's keep things rolling here. Brandon, thank you again for the super. Let me find a couple more of these lives that are just coming in right now. Imagine if we had Vando not in street clothes. Man, guy's been, we're closing in on a year that Vando has been out. A year. Reaves injured wrist. Yeah, I saw that too. Looks like at the end. Let me talk Reaves here real quick because I think there's a couple angles to talk about with Austin Reaves. 20 points, 6 assists, and 7 rebounds. Love it. Phenomenal. This is not one of Reaves' good nights. 6 of 18 from the field. A team like Atlanta, especially with a guy like Dyson Daniels, there's a blueprint here on Austin Reaves. Put big, athletic, long guys on him and put a ton of pressure on him. That's a problem for Austin Reaves. Reaves had 6 turnovers tonight. So I've heard people say this before, that there is, there's some concern with Austin Reaves because of that. You lose a guy like D'Angelo Russell, who's obviously D'Lo's a good ball handler, and now a lot of that's going to be on the burden of Austin Reaves. That's an area of his game that it's going to be critical for Austin Reaves. You can't have 4, 5, 6 turnovers a night. You can't. That's an area of his game where he's clearly going to have to be better at. And you don't want that to come back and haunt the Lakers, but that is certainly something that can happen. All right, let's see what we got here. Charles Barkley is a Laker hater, pure and simple. Yeah, I got to be honest. I did a whole thing this morning on it. It almost does feel personal with Charles. It feels personal like that with the Lakers, But then again, I don't know. He talks shit about everybody. Maybe it's not personal. Maybe for him, it's strictly entertainment, and he knows that there's certain franchises you run your mouth about, you're going to get clicks on it. And if Charles Barkley is talking about, a bad team, he's still going to get attention. If he's talking about the Los Angeles Lakers, he's going to get a lot more attention. Rockets going to be a tough game. That's coming up next, by the way. We'll get into that in just a second here. David Sabatini, thank you for the super. It feels like a bourbon night, 100%. David, go enjoy yourself a nice bourbon. I got tea tonight, guys. I know. Boring Al here. Not even a beer, not even a glass. I want nothing. You guys crack open whatever you guys want to open. Nick T, appreciate the super. Reeves driving me crazy. 6 of 18 and 6 turnovers. I know. I knew that was coming. Every time he had a turnover in my head, I'm like, oh, well, I'll tell you who's going to remind me of his turnovers. Everybody in the chat of the postgame show. They're going to remind me of that. Barkley's a disgruntled old man without a ring, so of course he hates us. Listen, I don't mind people talking. I really, really don't. I have no issue with it as long as there's just substance behind it. And in his mind, he thinks there's substance, but just like the threatening of, I'm going to be calling your games. I'm going to be talking about your bum team. Your team is not good. What else was he saying? He was talking about how, Frank Vogel was a great coach. Darvin Ham was a great. By the way, if I could be completely honest about Charles Barkley, I think a lot. I watch and listen to Charles Barkley more for entertainment purposes, less because I think he's actually breaking down what's happening. It's not that the man doesn't know basketball. I just don't think he cares what he says. So I think he just says whatever he says. if anybody walks away saying Darvin Ham was a great coach, I'm gonna, I gotta pause there. You can't say great in Darvin Ham. And by the way, I'm one that probably I'm okay with defending Darvin Ham a little bit more than other people do, because I know Laker fans just demolish the guy. That's fine. You got your reasons of why you do, but to say great in Darvin Ham, I'm like, were you watching a lot of these games? Did you watch when Anthony Davis, after game 2 against the Denver Nuggets, said we don't know what we're doing on both sides of the floor? If that's no, shot at your head coach, then I don't know what is. All right, speaking of AD, let's take a quick listen. AD's talking right now, and we'll get back to some of your comments. Let's take a quick listen here.
Which seems like a thing that means you kind of know where everybody's going to be.
Look at his line. 18, 19, 3 and 3.
In terms of just overall
Jesus.
trust and cohesion.
Yeah, we're starting to figure it out on both ends of the floor. We're trusting each other defensively, even though there are going to be mistakes. Offensively, I think we figured it out as well. We're playing really well. So it's just a matter of just keeping it going. Obviously we're sharing the basketball. High in assists again tonight. Guys are shooting the ball with confidence. And when you get a chance to play basketball for a long time with the same group, you start to figure out guys' tendencies. And we know Rui is a corner cutter. So when we're driving, them dump offs there, and depending on who we're playing, trying to put certain guys in actions, and making Reaves out of that. So we just figuring it out on both ends, and just got to do it again on this 2-game road trip.
You guys have won 8 out of 11, but you've had struggles as a team in Houston since you came to Lakers. Would that a strong performance there kind of legitimize the run you guys have been on?
Yeah, we just want to keep it going. We know that obviously it's a race in the standings, Houston's one of them teams that's above us. They're 30 right now, so getting a win there, and then obviously Dallas, tough team as well, in Dallas. So we're treating it as a business trip for sure, and starting with a tough opponent come Sunday, and try to get a first win there, and then focus on Dallas.
Physically, how beneficial was the day for you not playing yesterday?
That was good.
Was like everything good, everything clear in terms of your ankle?
Yeah, for the most part.
Don't sound that convincing.
For the most part.
JJ said that he believes this team could actually
I'll get one more.
great. You guys have had ups and downs this season. There was a stretch where you guys lost 9 of 11. Now you guys have climbed back into 4th place. What's the belief in this locker room about how great this team actually could be?
Yeah, he told us at half he don't want us to be a good team. He wants to be a great team. So, that's playing damn near perfect basketball every night. And it takes a lot of hard work. Exertion to be great every night. So, we know the potential that we have in this group. We just got to, do it on a night in, night out basis.
It's only been a few games, and probably not the most minutes that he's going to be playing compared to the future. But Dorian, what have you made of the minutes he's given you guys? I guess what stood out so far?
Obviously shot the ball well tonight. His defensive presence has always been there. And he's continuously learning, our system, our coverages, our calls, our schemes, and everything. So, the more familiar he get with the game reps, we'll be even better. We had no practice time for real either. So, he's learning everything on the fly, handshake. So, the more practice time we get, but also just more time that they get a chance to play, and they'll fit in perfectly.
All right, we'll stop it right there. Mute that for a quick second. Okay, let's keep things going. A couple things that he said right there. I think, first off, the ankle thing, that didn't sound too promising. Anthony Davis missed the game yesterday because of an ankle. Still look good tonight. I don't know if he's had I'm not sure if he had, what his issue is there, if it's still bothering him, but he's still offensively Okay, maybe not the same Anthony Davis because of the 18 points, but 19 rebounds, 3 steals, 3 block shots. He's obviously still affecting the game, very, very much affecting the game. So let's leave that one alone for a quick second. I thought what he said about Dorian Finney-Smith, and I really didn't actually talk much about Dorian, but I thought this is probably a good way to put it here. DFS is ramping up. I thought he looked more comfortable tonight, and I think he's just going to look more and more comfortable as he goes. I think most Laker fans will be more and more comfortable with him. And if you were, one of the few or one of many, I from my pulse, I think there were a lot of Laker fans that were okay with that trade and were okay with D'Angelo Russell leaving. I think as the season goes on, the less you'll think about D'Angelo Russell, the more you'll think about what Dorian Finney-Smith is bringing on a night in, night out basis. So I thought the 2 threes that he hit, got to the basket. I think he's just going to get more and more comfortable. And he's, like I said, I've said this before. If you watch basketball in your life, or you ever played basketball in your life, or you're kicking back and you're just a huge NBA fan or just a huge Laker fan, players like that you want on your team. You want them on your team for the grind, yes, but you also 100% want them on your team. You want them there for that playoff run. You definitely need guys like that for that playoff run. All right, let me get one here, a super here. Andre, thank you for the super, brother. Appreciate you. Sports media isn't about sports anymore. It's about trying to get clout for hot takes at anyone's expense. It's toxic. The NBA gets it the worst. I think you're right about that. I think there's some truth to it. But I will tell you this. And I think actually where you probably see it more than anywhere else, I think in the independent space, right here, YouTube is a great example of it. You have you got a lot of different styles. And I think people can have tremendous amount of success, can get their word across. And I think the consumer, you leave it in their hands to say, I like this or I don't like this. But you are right. A lot of the networks, it is about how loud can I be? How much can I shout? And if that's what's getting numbers, then they're going to continue to do that until that starts losing numbers and people start going away from it. Or they start just realizing, hey, I got other outlets. I'd rather come on an outlet like this or wherever the case is. You're going to get a lot of that. But there's still some, there's still enough broadcasters out there that I think are not all about just shouting and whatever the case is. It's not my style. I think you guys can tell that, obviously it's not my style, but I'm going to go ahead and just be me and take my chances. Wherever it goes, it goes. There are 100% other people out there where it is their style. And that's what they've kind of blew up with. And that's how they became popular. And they're going to continue to do it because it's getting them the ratings that they're getting. It's getting them the checks that they're looking for. So, but I do think the independent space is now allowing for, okay, I like this. There's another option. I mean, for me, a lot of podcasts that I listen to, a lot of the news that I listen to, a lot of that is on YouTube. Literally, a lot of that is on YouTube. And these are independent people. So I could kind of find the style that I like on YouTube. And they're legitimate people that maybe even worked in the, some kind of network space before, and now they're on their own. All right, let's see some more here. Let's see what we got here. I actually did not see this, and you can comment to this, or if anybody would like to, they can actually fill me in on this. Here's one comment. You could tell JJ was bothered by Barkley's undressing of him by his response today. I actually did not see that response. So if somebody wants to kind of give me a heads up, that would be that'd be very helpful. But I didn't get a chance to see it. So that is not something that I saw, and I'm sure it'd be probably something that we talk about again on Monday. All right, let's keep going here. By the way, if you're here and you're hanging out, thank you for doing so. If you can take a quick second and subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell as well. I'm putting up so much more content than I ever have on this channel. And, the idea and the concept is to try to get content that you guys want. So I'm still kind of learning what that is, but please subscribe to the channel if you don't mind. All right, NBA standings. Next game the Lakers have is against the Rockets. So let me do two things here real quick. One of the things that I want to do is first point out where the Lakers are in the standings. Guys, this is where the Lake Show, this is where they are now. 20-14 now on the season. It's got them in fourth place. And by the way, how you get there, I think is, sometimes there's more context to it. Dallas is on a 4-game losing streak because Luka got injured. The Rockets, I think, just lost. Who did they just lose? Who did I just see that they lost? I know the Rockets, by the way, got blown out today by Boston a little bit earlier. But I know they just lost somebody to an injury. Was it Jabari Smith? I'm not sure. I'll have to go back and look. It might be Jabari Smith. Yeah, it is Jabari Smith. Rockets announced Friday that Smith broke his left hand in shoot-around to be reevaluated in 4 to 6 weeks. So he's going to be out. They lost him. But here's what I was going to say as far as the standings go. I don't really care how the Lakers are sitting in fourth place. I just know that they're sitting in fourth place. So you go look at the standings right now. Houston has a 2-game lead on the Lakers. Memphis has a 2.5-game lead on the Lakers. No one's catching the Thunder. They have won 14 in a row. Blew out the Knicks a little bit earlier today. New York had won 9 in a row. So OKC kind of just creating their own path. They're going to lock up that number 1 seed probably by the time we're 65, 70 games into the season. But OKC is doing what they're doing. But for the Lakers right now, they're at the number 4 spot, and we're on January 3rd. I think there's enough people that have watched Lakers basketball over the years. That's not normal. That's not something that is, very common for the Lakers. So that one's a little bit surprising. Very, very surprising that that's where the Lakers are in regards to that. Okay, so people are putting on here Jabari Smith. Okay. Let's see what else we got here. Okay. Let me read this comment here real quick, and then I'm going to get to the game coming up on Sunday. Do I say this or do I just not say it? I don't know if you guys have known what has gone on here. Every time that I've said it's a barometer game for the Lakers, hasn't exactly gone the Lakers' way. Listen, Houston and Dallas on the road, that's the next 2 for the Lakers. They're at Houston, at Dallas. I'm good with a split. Come back with a split. And if you're taking advantage of Dallas because they've lost 4 in a row and that team's completely different without Luka, awesome. Winning in Houston on Sunday, that's going to be a tough game. You know what? F it. It's another barometer game, okay? Barometer game on Sunday, all right? Right now, here are the 3 barometer games I think I've already done, and we lost in all of them. I know one was against Denver. One was against the Cavs recently, was a barometer game. And then you pick one of those other losses that they had when they were going through that bad stretch. Those were all barometer games to me, and they're 0 for 3. At some point, if you keep doing that, the idea is the math will work itself out and you'll get a W in that, okay? I'm not going to live my life in fear, all right? I got faith. All right, also a little bit worried about that barometer game. So is it a barometer game? Yes, it is a barometer game. AR, Slee, sorry I'm late. I went to pick up the milk. Damn, AR is going deep. If you've been listening to YouTube here, there was a time that I had cereal, but I didn't have milk. And AR is going back. AR is old school. If you know that, that means you've been on this channel for a while. AR, thank you for the super, brother. You're also always very kind when it comes to that, so thank you for doing that. All right, next game for the Lakers. They got the Rockets coming up. So here's Houston on the season. 22-12, playing phenomenal. Granted, they got their asses kicked tonight, literally lost by 20-plus points, maybe 23, I think it was. But they got a good team. And Ime Udoka has completely changed that team. Just their personality. A lot of times I see clips on YouTube, and somebody's getting into some kind of a tussle somebody's getting into some kind of a fight that we all know is not a real fight because that doesn't happen in the NBA. Jalen Green, Sengun is a phenomenal player. It's fun to watch him play. Fred VanVleet's been in the league for a long time, a good veteran. Dylan Brooks, Jabari Smith, who we just talked about, has the injury now. Cam Whitmore was the kind of one of the younger surprises last year in the NBA out of the draft, but they got a lot of young, exciting players that are a part of their squad, and certainly kind of looking at the game coming up on Sunday. It's going to be a tough game. That's a tough game. It's going to be a really, really fun, tough game for the Lakers, and I know you guys love when I do it. It's a good barometer game. Very, very good barometer game. DFS on Brooks. Oh, it's going to be two grown-ass men guarding each other and going to work. All right, I don't even know who's on Houston. They got some players. They got some players. They really do. They got guys. They got guys, but it's more of the philosophy of their head coach. That's kind of what they've taken. They've taken that philosophy. All right, so let me recap here real quick what we did for today. Bron passes Michael Jordan for most 40-point games or most 30-point games in NBA history. By the way, how about this? This just kind of tells you what a baller Michael Jordan was. Bron just passed him in his 22nd year. So just think about how many more games LeBron had to play in order for that to happen. Great payback game, I thought, for the Lakers against the Atlanta Hawks. Great team win. You got a lot of weapons that the Lakers have on this team, and the Lakers are now sitting at number 4 in the Western Conference. So certainly something to be proud about there. Okay, my people, I think I'm done for the day. What I have. I had a morning show yesterday, post-game show last night, morning show today, and then post-game show tonight. I think we're good right now. I think we're good. Thank you for being a part of the show. That's all we got for tonight. Let's keep things rolling. I'll be back on Sunday after the Lakers take on the Houston Rockets. That tip-off, by the way, I think that's a little bit earlier of one. Let me see what time that game is going to be at. Lakers, is it 4 or something like that? 4 p.m. 4 p.m. tip-off. So we'll probably be doing post-game around 6:37, somewhere around there. So looking forward to that. If anything kind of comes up, maybe I'll post something up for tomorrow. Sammy's going to have a preview video coming tomorrow as well for Sunday's game, so something to keep in mind there. But any content that I can put up, I'm going to try to do so. Thank you for being a part of the show. Please subscribe to the channel. Thank you for hanging out. Hopefully you guys have a great Friday night. Have a great Saturday as well. Enjoy your weekend. Lakers are balling right now. Give them some credit, 20-14. Don't worry that Barkley doesn't want to give them credit. Don't worry. Don't worry about that. But they're playing good basketball right now. Back on Sunday. Hope you guys have a great Friday night and a great rest of your weekend. Thank you, everybody.